7 people are watching, 8 people are watching. Wow, this is crowd favorite. Okay, so I'm going to get started and talk a little bit about what I'm doing and how this stream is going to go. So basically, we're starting about 18 minutes late, but it's okay. This is real life for you, how things actually turn out, and things don't always go how you planned it. And so, yeah. So basically, what my idea for this stream is going to be is just to kind of talk to you guys about like how I got to where I am. And one second, just go to my channel. It's live now. Got it. Okay, cool. Anyway, basically, I just want to talk to you guys about how I got to where I am as a creator, especially living in a small town, because it is really hard to live in an area that they don't frown upon, but they definitely have a closed mind when it comes to doing anything out of the ordinary. And being a YouTuber, I use that term really lightly because I don't like calling myself that. I don't know. I don't feel like I have the justification to do that. But anyway, just being a YouTuber and like a creator and having an idea to pursue something that isn't normal and that isn't just what people think of. Just like a 4-year degree, go to a college, get a degree, sitting in an office, get a job, like all those kind of things. That's what people think is traditional. And so I think that what I'm doing is very untraditional. So I wanted to share with you guys how I got there, kind of my journey, and then answer some questions that you guys sent me on my Instagram. And also, if you are just now coming out of this stream, welcome. Sorry that my last one didn't work. Please tell your friends, please tell anyone that you know that was planning on watching this, that the channel is different now. Hi, Logan. Okay, so I also got some questions from my people on Instagram that I'll be answering at the end. So I'm going to get started and talk a little bit about my story as a creator and like how I got to where I am. So when I was like sitting down trying to write this, like not script, because this isn't a script, but trying to come up with an idea for how I got here and like my story with things. What did she say? Thanks, Grace. Sorry, my computer's like way over here, so I have to lean towards it. But anyway, when I was trying to think of like where I got and how I got to where I am and things like that, I was like, like this started way before I even had any kind of social media, like at all. Like if you look back at my history, like History of Sydney, if you look at my history book, you would see that it all started when I was little and I got a plastic camcorder camera and I would record little web shows with my friend Megan. And I know Megan's watching this, so hi, Megan. Hi, Kyle. Nice to see you. Welcome to this stream. Hi, Logan. But anyway, it all started with my friend Megan, and we made a Sid and Meg show, actually, is what we called it. And it was like a little web show. We had segments and we recorded on my little camera, and then we'd watch it back. I remember one time we were in her basement and we set the camera up and we put a fan behind it and we had a fashion show and we like run out and then the fan would be blowing our hair back and we'd feel like little models. And so that's kind of where it actually started and how that sounds weird to say that's how I started, but really that was my first experience, like talking in front of a camera. I'd be like, hi guys, this is Sid and Meg show. Like that's really legit how it started. And then it kind of carried over into my best friend, Grace. So I know Grace is watching this, but Grace and I went through many phases together in our early friendship. We've been friends since we were like 7 years old. And so through the years, we had so many phases. And when I say phases, we were intense. Like we got involved in something and we were all in 100%. Like one time we had a cupcake business that we called the Cupcake Crew. One time we made duct tape things. Another time we made up a whole school and ran a school from our houses. But each time we went above and beyond to make sure everyone knew about it. So for the Cupcake Crew, we created a website for it. We shared it on Facebook. Before we even had Facebook, we were on our parents' Facebooks sharing this Cupcake Crew, like little entrepreneurs, if you even think about it. But like we were sharing the Cupcake Crew. When we played school, we would make a website and create grade books and like a little mini like Skyward. That's what my school has, but like a little mini Skyward. And so when I look back at like my life so far and how I got to where I am as a creator and like as an entrepreneur, I really draw back to how my life started with my best friends, Megan and Grace, and like how each of those little things, even though they seemed so minuscule and like so unimportant at the time, how they led me to where I was. And like that really impacted how I would see myself in the future. Like I was very creative and I like to create new things and I like to share that with other people. And the sharing that with other people, I think, is something that has carried with me throughout my past 20 years. I'm 20 now. Wow. Throughout the past 20 years of my life, just because I like to share things with people. And when I get into something, I get into it 100%. So that's kind of where that started. So that's like the early phase. And then we move on to how I started YouTube. And this also has to do with Grace. You like the big bear in the corner? Yes. I like it too. Anyway, so how I started YouTube is kind of funny. So when I was on vacation with Grace in 2015, I think summer 2015, Grace and I decided to bring my GoPro that goes underwater, with us to the beach. And we decided to make a little video. And when we made the little video, I had no idea how to edit, like at all. But I thought it was really fun. And Grace was editing on her computer and she like taught me how to use iMovie. And I was like, whoa, this is so cool. So we both created our own like recap of our Florida vacation together. And to this day, that video is my first video and it has 865 views, most of which came after I gained my 10,000 followers on YouTube. So that's kind of how it started. And like, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, this is fun. And I put it to music, which actually the music got copyrighted later on, because that shows you how much I did not know and how much I did not care. All I cared about was sharing my vacation with people. And I wanted to show I was proud of what I created. I knew nothing about YouTube. Like my music was copyrighted, got taken down. You can still see the video, but the music is totally different. So it's not as good. It was actually Tennis Courts by, I think it was Lord, maybe that was a song. But yeah, that's what the song was. I knew nothing, but that's kind of where it started. And like from that moment on, I've always tried to create something, and with the intention of mine is like I'm sharing this with other people. And like the only reason I'm doing this is to make not to make myself happy, because that sounds really selfish, but I think I've always had the mindset that like if I'm going to create something, I'm going to first create it for myself because I like doing this. And then sharing it with other people has just always been a bonus. So that's kind of how that started. And then after that video, I made a summer 2015 video, which was just a recap. Also, the music was copyrighted. So yeah, but also that has 670 views to this day. So as you can see, started out small, but we got there. So then after that, I kind of so that's another phase in my life. Like there was early life, and then there was that phase of just like making montage videos. And like, I really didn't know what I was doing, but it was just fun. And that's all I did it for. And then moving into the next, I think you're really inspirational. You're doing such a great job. Thank you so much. Thank you. That really means a lot. But anyway, then we move into the next phase of my life, which was when I met Charlie. And like, this sounds so stereotypical to like even classify this as a phase in my life because it's only been 5 years. But in the past 5 years, I've grown so much and I've learned a lot about myself and how to use my voice for good and how to inspire others who may be in the same situation. But also that experience, because I was dating someone from England when I was 15 years old. Like, can we just think about that for a minute? Like, if this was edited, I'd like zoom in on my face right now to me going like this. But yeah, so if you look back, 15 years old, dating a guy from England, that really set me apart, like really fast. And as soon as people found out about that, it was like, whoa, what are you doing? And so, yeah. So it really set me apart. And so that is kind of like where my voice really came out, because I realized that I was okay to be myself and that I could do things oh, hi, I love you. Sorry, I keep looking at my comments. Anyway, yeah. So when I met Charlie, that kind of really was the turning point where I was like, okay, I'm doing me. Like, this is me doing me, and I'm just going to do this. So when I met Charlie, I looked up a lot of videos about long distance relationships because I literally knew nothing. Like, there are some people that go searching for that. I didn't search for that. Let me tell you, don't search for it. It'll just happen if it happens. But 10 out of 10 would not recommend. It's so sad. But anyway, so I started looking up videos about that, and I realized that people like would take videos of when they would meet for the first time. And I was like, that's so cute. Like to look back on that. And many of these couples were like married, and they could look back on that. Like this is the first moment they met. And like you can see the raw emotions. And that's when I fell in love with genuine side of YouTube, and like not the highly edited put to music kind of stuff. I realized that YouTube could be something to like look back on for myself, but also to share with others, because I knew that by watching those videos, it encouraged me and it made me feel like I wasn't alone. So I thought if I could do the same thing, but also just make this video so I can look back on it, like it's the best of both worlds. So in 2015, in the summer, I created a video called something like long distance relationship first meeting or something like that. Stereotypical title, I know. And that's really when my YouTube channel took off, because to this day, that video has 145,000 views, which is crazy. That blows my mind, because I literally created that with the intention of like, I'm going to make this like a little cute slideshow of pictures of us. And like when we met for the first time, like I did not expect it to go anywhere. If anything, I just wanted to share it with my friends back home that were wanting to see the video. And I already had a YouTube channel, so I was like, why not? So when I posted that video, that was really a turning point in my channel and like my life as a creator. So then I noticed that when that video was getting more popular, that was kind of like a niche. And people always talk about like, if you're going to do something creative wise, whether it be you're creating a product or creating a blog or making videos or anything, creating a service, you have to have your audience in mind and like the niche that you're going for. So when I realized that there were people out there that were looking for that, I was like, I can act on this. Like it's all about finding something that you're good at and that makes you different and acting on that. So when I saw that, I decided to make more LDR videos, which is literally like the whole rest of that summer, I created videos with Charlie. And that's really when my channel took off. But the point of this is not to say like you need to post long distance videos, because you don't. Like if you're looking to be a creator or to start in any kind of outlet, I would just encourage you to find something that you're passionate about and find something that you can start with. Because as you can see, my channel now is not completely full of long distance stuff, but at a time it was, because that's how I grew my channel, which I'll get more into that later when I answer questions. But like I started with that and that's how I grew. So that summer I just continued to make videos, or that winter up until the next summer, I like continued to make long distance videos. Really after the summer, I realized that I could be different and that I could use this platform to like share my life. And because it was growing, a lot of this is like technical stuff that I'm trying not to make too technical. So if it's confusing, let me know. But anyway, I just realized that like that niche is something that I needed to act on. But when you grow that, your viewers go up. And so your other videos that may not have anything to do with long distance will grow up. And I also realized that like during that time, that it was really important to make videos that were relevant to the time, because my next big video was my homecoming get ready with me video in 2016. And that has 28,000 views. So not as much as the 100,000 view video, but it still had a lot. And that was like my first big video away from the long distance stuff. And that's when I realized that like people want to see this kind of stuff. Like I'm not just some girl like that I don't even know. Like it was crazy that people wanted to watch me getting ready for homecoming, but that's what people looked for. And the reason why that video did so well was because my homecoming was so early that year. And so people were able to like look at it and then look at it throughout the whole homecoming season. And so in that moment, I realized that like creating content that's relevant to the time is going to get you so much further than just doing vlogs. I'm sorry, but no one wants to watch a vlog if they don't know who you are. And I don't want to make this all about YouTube, because this is supposed to be like how I got to where I am, just success wise, and not just like YouTube. But basically something that I've always noticed is like, no one's going to watch a vlog if that's your only video that you have on your channel, because people don't know who you are. When you build your personal like brand, I hate that, but like really, when you build your personal brand, people are more likely to watch your stuff if they know who you are. So like take, Jess and Gabriel, for an example. They each had their own channels or like own outlets, platforms that they were creating on, that they created and built like an audience that liked watching them. And so then when they switched to vlogs, people were interested in their life. So my biggest advice to anyone wanting to start YouTube is find something that's relevant to the time and create a video on it, whether it be a trending video, a homecoming video at homecoming time, a Christmas video, holiday things. Just find something that's relevant and it will really take off. But back to my story. It's only a little bit longer because we're getting closer to 2019. But at Christmas of 2016, I got my first camera and I got my like light system and my tripod and stuff like that. Before then, I was literally using my phone. Like for a year and a half, I was using my phone and I was using my mom's very, 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 very old DSLR camera that did not focus. Like you just have to start with what you have. And that's also something that I try to urge to people is like, don't go out and buy a camera before you know if you like it. Because if I would have bought a camera in 2015 when my videos weren't doing anything, I would not have done well. Like I literally would not have done well because I was spending so much money on something and I didn't know if I liked it. So my biggest advice is like, don't invest in something when you have this. Literally, you have your phones. These cameras are nice. This is the 8 Plus, and now they have like way better phones. So if I can create on my 8 Plus, you can create on your phone too and save yourself a lot of money and a lot of time because you won't feel like you're being forced to create content. Anyway, but in the summer of 2016, I created my second meeting video with Charlie, and that to date is the most viewed video on my channel with 494,000 views. That's crazy how that kind of blew up. I mean, it was the second time I was meeting him. It wasn't even the first. But yeah, so that really helped my channel. And then everything changed in the summer of 2017. Oh no, I have to sneeze. I was really scared that I was going to sneeze on camera. I'm going to sneeze. Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Maybe it's gone. Okay, I think it's gone. Wow, that was impressive. Anyway, but in the summer of 2017, that's where really a turning point. It's hard to say a turning point in my life when I'm only 20, and at the time I was 18. So, but in the summer of 2017, that's when I really found myself. So, that summer, I decided that I wasn't going to do dance competition team anymore at my studio, which sounds really small, but for me, it was a huge decision because that had been my life. Like I had spent every breathing moment at dance or at my school dance team or like everything at a competition, learning dances. My whole life had revolved around dance before then. And like, even though I loved it, I did not feel good about myself when I was dancing. And this is something that I've never really said out loud to people who aren't like really close to me. But dance was always somewhere that I didn't feel good about myself. I constantly compared myself to others. I felt like I was being judged. I felt like I didn't fit in. And like, it's nothing against the people who were dancing with me because they're all great people. But like, I just didn't feel like that's where I was meant to be. And so my senior year, especially that it was my senior year, like that was a big deal. My senior year, I decided to stop doing dance competition and to focus on what I wanted to do in my senior year and really make it mine. And that really paid off because in the summer of 2017, I received a DM on Instagram from a company called University Box. And I thought it was spam at first. I'm like, nah, these people really don't want me. But basically they were asking if I wanted to be an ambassador for their brand and to sign on and kind of work with their group. So they were like a group of empowering, their brand was all about empowering women and especially content creators in like smaller areas. And so they're based out of Chicago, which is kind of a bigger area, but not as opposed to like LA or New York or anything like that. But I signed on with University Box in June of 2017, I want to say. And then in August of 2017, they contacted me asking me if I wanted to come to a shoot with them in Chicago. And like, I told no one about it because I was like, this is a big deal. Like little Sydney from Jacksonville, like this is a huge deal. So I decided to go to the shoot in Chicago. And that moment changed my life forever because I finally realized that there were people out there my age working in this field and loving it and like who felt empowered, and finally being around like-minded people was so encouraging to me, and being able to feel like I had a voice and like I could use my voice for good, but also that I had some kind of like power. Like I felt like I was powerful, and that it gave me the validation that like this is something that I can do for a career and something that I really like to do. So seeing other people pursue their passions really encouraged me. So in summer 2017, when I did that, it was really encouraging. And then that kind of carried on to my first paid job to make a video, which was with a newspaper that I work for. I created a little promotional video for them. And like that was kind of validation too, because I was like, they could hire someone professional, but they're letting me do this. Like I had never done it before. I took my little camera with my microphone out there and I did it. And I was like, wow, I can do this. And so that whole point, like my senior year of high school up until now has been a big like aha moment. Like I'm capable of doing this, and I can do this from here. Like I don't need to be in LA. I don't need to be in New York. I can do it from right here. And a lot of people say like as their excuse, like, oh, I don't do exciting things. Like, oh, my life isn't that exciting. I don't really do things that are fun. Like you should see me. You should see my life. I danced for 25 hours a week. I had like nothing exciting that people would want to see, but I took ordinary things, made it into a story, and posted it for people to see. Like that's how you do it. It's that you don't have to be somewhere that you're in a big city. You don't have to be doing fun things all the time. You don't have to live this big, like lavish lifestyle to be happy and to create content and to put yourself out there. Like all it takes is a little courage to put yourself out there. And I promise that it doesn't matter where you live. Like I'm in my room right now in Illinois. Do you know how boring that is? But you know what I'm doing? I'm doing this, and I'm pursuing a career that I like and that I think is worth it and that I'm excited and that gets me like really fired up to talk about because I'm passionate about it. And so I just encourage you that if you're in the same boat and you feel like you're stuck because of where you live, to just try it. Take something ordinary like getting ready for homecoming, make a video about it and put it out there. You never know what's going to happen. So then like fast forward to January of 2018, I decided to create a blog because I've always loved writing, but I've never considered writing for fun. So I decided to create a blog to kind of share my ideas and put them out there. And that changed me a lot too, because it was just like it reached more people. So like my mom's friends would read my blog. I have a lot of mom friends that read my blog because like my insight, I guess, is mature or something like that. But yeah, so that was kind of a cool thing for me. I'd always wanted to write for a blog, but I'd never like pushed myself to do it. So like actually taking that leap, that was my goal in 2018. I haven't really posted very much, not as much as I'd like to, but I'll get more into that later talking about motivation. And then finally, when I went to college, that's when I really felt like confident in myself. And that feels really weird because you would think that when I was around the people who I grew up with, I don't know the right word. When I was around the people that I'd been around for my whole life, that I would feel the most confident and that I would feel like I was the most supported. But I really didn't feel like I was super supported and backed until I was in college. And I don't need support. Like I'm doing this for myself and I'm doing this for fun. And like, I like creating, so I'm going to do it no matter what. But in college, when I was introduced as, hi, this is Sydney. She has a YouTube channel. Like, I was like, oh, like it almost made me like, no, don't say that, don't say that, don't say that, because I didn't want people to judge me. But honestly, people thought it was really cool and people looked it up and people supported me and people wanted to be in my videos. And that was such a weird change for me because I went to school in my hometown, as you know. My first year of college was in my hometown. And so I like in my mind, I was like, okay, same town, same kind of people, same closed minds. This is how it's going to be. But when people really like stepped up and they were like, this is really cool. I like what you're doing. And then when like the marketing department reached out to me and said they realized what I was doing and that they wanted me to work with them, like that really gave me a lot of confidence that like I can do this and I can do this from here. So that's kind of like the end of my story. That was super long, 27 minutes of me telling my story. That's only part of it though, because I could go on and on for days about my life and like my story with YouTube and creating and stuff like that. Also, I want to talk about Instagram for a little bit because my feed looks really good right now. But anyway, back when I was in Florida with Grace creating the GoPro video, that's when I really took interest in like creating an Instagram feed, like an aesthetic feed. And like, but yeah, so when I was in Florida, I thought, okay, I'm going to make my Instagram look good. And if you look back, it doesn't look good, right? Like when you look back compared to now, it was not very good. But that's kind of where my journey with Instagram started. And that's when I got like obsessive over my feed. Anyway, so now I'm going to go through and answer some of your guys' questions that you asked me on Instagram. So one of the things that someone asked me was, how did you grow your channel or Instagram organically? So I never do any of the like the buying your followers or whatever that's called. Kind of going back to what I talked about earlier, like you have to post relevant things. You have to and you have to be engaging with your followers. You can't just post something and then comment 20 times and you never reply. Like if you engage with them, you create a bond with your followers. And a lot of this has to do with the algorithms too. Like with my channel, at least, when more people were watching my LDR videos, it didn't matter if they subscribed, because my channel had more views. Then my next video, even if it had nothing to do with the LDR, would get pushed up in the algorithm. So when you search it, if you search like back to school haul, someone whose other video, like total channel views are in the thousands, are going to get a lot higher on the search list than people whose channel views are in the hundreds. So that's kind of like how I grew my channel. Back to like posting the relevant content, making sure that you're creating things that are relevant to the time, participating in trends, as cringy as they may be. The trends really do help. So if you're looking to grow your channel, definitely participate in some trend videos. Like my friend Grace, her channel took off when she posted a summer playlist video. Like we're talking hundreds in a day. So I would highly recommend going with trends, even though it can be cringy. It's a starting point. And my Instagram, I didn't really work on growing my Instagram, actually. I don't really know how it got to where it is. It's not really that high. I think I have like 3,000 followers or something. But I don't really know. I don't know if I tried to grow my Instagram. I think I just linked it with everything in my like Instagram or my YouTube, and people followed me from there. So it's kind of like I grew my YouTube and that grew my Instagram. How do you get over the fear of what others are going to say or think about you? And this is like a common thing. Like, what about people that are judging you? What about those things? Those kind of things. And honestly, like I said, to begin with, I just created it for fun. I didn't expect people to watch it. I didn't really care, honestly, because I liked what I was creating and I thought it was fun. And I liked the creation process. I never created things with the intention of, I want to get 1 million views on this. Like that was never my intention. It never is my intention, but really in the beginning, when you would think I would be most like self-conscious about putting myself out there, I just created things because I thought it was fun. And that's really what you have to do. You have to start by saying, I want to do this because I think it's fun for me to create and I like creating things and I'm going to put it out there. And then you really just have to, like, the thing is I went to this event 2 weeks ago. It's called Wake Up You're Wild. Erin, if you're watching, I loved it. But basically we listened to Brene Brown like talk about things. And if you want to, you can look her up. I'll link it down below if I can do that. I don't really know. But basically she said, because you can't just say, I don't care what people think about me, because honestly, you do care. Like we all care about what people think about us. We all care what people say about us. But one thing that she said, and she said this 2 weeks ago, so like this isn't even like in my mindset from a long time ago, but if I'm trying to give advice to you guys, I would say this now because I think this was so perfect. You are putting yourself in the arena when you're putting yourself out there like this. Like if I'm doing this, I'm in the arena right now with people looking down on me, staring at me, judging me. And the only people that you should take judgment from are the people who are standing in the arena with you. So the only people that you should care about what they think are the people who are putting themselves out there just like you. The people who talk about you behind your back because they think, oh, this girl's creating YouTube videos. That's so weird. Like if they look at my channel now, I don't think they'd be saying the same thing, because honestly, if they tried this, they could say the same thing, but they didn't. They didn't try to put themselves out there. They didn't try to like create on this platform. So you just have to like put it into perspective. Like you do care and you should care because that's human nature, but you shouldn't absorb what people are saying unless it is people who are putting themselves out there just like you are. Did you ever feel scared? I was scared when I started to venture away from the LDR videos into like the real life videos. So I'm like, do people only like me for this? Like, are people going to like me if I change? And I realized that yes, people did like it. So I was scared, but now I'm not. Did failure ever affect your actions? Sometimes when I think a video is really cool and then it flops, yeah, that does affect my actions. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't try to branch out like that. Like for example, a few weeks ago, I made a skincare video, has 200 views. Like I thought that video was going to blow up because skincare videos are really popular, but apparently not popular anymore. So 0 out of 10 would not recommend. But that did affect my actions a little bit. It's things like that, because I'm like, oh, I thought this was going to do really well and it's not. And I find myself like refreshing the analytics 24/7 and they're not going up. So someone else asked like how to not be uncomfortable when you're putting yourself out there. And my biggest advice is like, just do it. Like that sounds so stereotypical and so cliche, but like, just do it. If you want to put your life on display, do it. No one's stopping you. And in this world, there are so many people who are putting their lives on display carelessly. But if you have something to give to someone, like your insight or your experience with this or experience with that, like just go out there and do it. Like you don't know until you try. And that's why I encourage people to not invest in expensive gear or cameras or anything like that. Because if you try it and you don't like it, you lost nothing. You lost nothing at all. And that's like what I kept thinking about. Like if I post this video, I didn't pay for any of this stuff. Like this is all stuff I use. If I post this video and it doesn't do well, so what? It's not hurting me at all. So my biggest advice is if you're going to feel uncomfortable, just try it and you're not losing anything. So yeah. The next thing is, did you ever feel overwhelmed with attention on social media and how do you take a step back? I don't really know. The only time I've ever felt overwhelmed is when people make fun of my eye muscle disorder, which I've considered making a video about that too, but I really haven't. But attention, I don't know, like overwhelmed with attention. I would say I've never really felt overwhelmed with attention on social media. I think that a lot of people who know me personally know that like this is just something fun in my life. This isn't my whole life yet. Hopefully it is someday, but this isn't my whole life yet. And so I never have felt like I've gained too much attention or anything like that. If anything, the attention that I've gained has boosted my confidence and pushed me to pursue my passions more. Like I said, like when I went to college and people were like, this is Sydney, she has a YouTube channel. That attention was good for my confidence. And that like my head was like, woo. No, it really wasn't like that. But yeah. And how do you take a step back? I think that sometimes I'll get on a roll. As you can see, I'm not on a roll right now. Haven't posted in a few weeks. Like it gets like that. And like, I'm not doing this as a job, so I don't need to post consistently. But how do I take a step back? I think just realizing that like, this doesn't have to be something that's so tedious and something that I'm working at every single day. Like this is just a side thing. So I've always tried to consider that. My friend Kendra said, what keeps you going or focused? Like I said, haven't really stayed focused on this lately, but as far as keeping me going, when I see positive things, like people messaging me saying, hey, your video really spoke to me, or hey, I just watched this video and I just wanted to let you know that this changed how I thought about this. Like that's what keeps me going. And when I receive things like that, it's like a wake up call. It's like, Sydney, you have a voice, you have a way of creating things. And like, especially being from a small town, like for someone from a big city to tell me that my video was encouraging to them or that they liked what I did on this thing, like that's really encouraging. And that's what keeps me going and focused. How do you reach people outside of your area? So my niche exactly, like my long distance thing is definitely like way out of my area. But as far as like, other than that, like in general, how do you reach people outside of your area? I think connection groups are really important. So my university box was that for me. So I connected with a lot of girls from like the Chicago area and surrounding states that then we kind of like supported and boosted each other up. I'm not huge into engagement groups. I don't think those are very beneficial, at least for my demographic. Now, some other demographic might be, but really just trying to make connections with people who are doing similar things to you, because then those people will be like, oh, I know a girl that can do this for you. And that's how you kind of reach people who are outside of your area. How do you find the resources that you need? Ooh, that's good. That's kind of technical. Basically, like I said, like I started with my phone, and luckily nowadays you can start on your phone. I use iMovie to edit my videos. At least I did it first. Sometimes I mix it up and use this other software that I paid for called Wondershare Filmora. But other than that, like I just use the things that I already have. And then I invest in things when I think they're worth it. So when I invested in my vlog camera, I made sure that like I was going to actually use it and that I was going to take advantage of having something like that. But before then, I just vlogged on my phone, and that seemed to work for me. But as far as like other resources that I need, I don't really know. I feel like for this creative thing, everything's out there for you. And that's what's so great about this. Like I can go click on go live and go live on YouTube. I don't need a software. I don't need something big and fancy. Like it's all free. And that's what's so amazing about the world of social media, is that you can just create sitting in your bedroom in Illinois like me and create something out of that and like get something out of that and potentially make that into a career. Another thing about other people's opinions, same thing. Being afraid that editing is over my head. That's someone's fear that they shared with me. To that, I would just say, like, look up tutorials. Like I learned to edit from Grace, and now all I do is I like click really fast. And honestly, if you use a software like iMovie, it is not overwhelming at all. It is very user friendly. You can learn the shortcuts and make it really fast. But like all the people who use, what is it called? Oh, Final Cut Pro. Like I tried to use that once. Not good for me. It was way too over my head. iMovie is so simple. So if you're looking for easy editing, I would highly recommend iMovie. And then someone said that they were afraid to fail at something they dreamed of doing forever. So luckily for me, I started at a really young age. I mean, I started creating at 15. And so I had nothing to lose. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to do this. And I really didn't do it with the mindset that like, this is what I want to do for my career. It just kind of turned into that. But as far as like being afraid that you're going to fail at it, like you never know until you try. And that's my biggest thing. Like there are people out there that you can connect with that are in the same boat as you. So I've kind of reached out and found a great group of women in my area that have encouraged me and pushed me to be the little entrepreneur that I am. And a lot of them are like older and have went through several different careers before finding that. So like it just takes time, I would say. How do you balance being in a small town, doing your work, and having your boyfriend at the same time? So being in a small town is great because I don't feel like a lot of people are doing it. So I don't feel like I have a lot of like competition per se. I feel like if you were in a big city like LA, everyone's an LA YouTuber, you know, but no one's a Jacksonville YouTuber. Like I can just go out with my camera. That's the only thing that's kind of scary. I'm not afraid of what people will say online, but I'm afraid of what people will say in real life when I'm out there holding my vlogging camera. But getting my little vlog camera has been a huge step in that. But yeah, so just doing my work now with my online school has been absolutely amazing because it's all online and like I can self-pace myself. But then as far as like my YouTube work, you really just have to carve out the time and be like, I'm going to sit down and edit this video, or I'm going to sit down and write a blog. Because for me, what's really hard is like it lingering over my head, like, oh, Sydney, you need to do this and all that stuff, when it really doesn't need to be that overwhelming. I sit down, I start typing, the words come naturally, I make a blog post, and then I'm like, I should have done this a long time ago. And then with my boyfriend, Charlie, he's just always been like a factor in my life for 5 years, ever since I started this. So it's really good that I kind of built that relationship while I was building myself as a creator, because I learned how to use that and how to balance where I was placing my priority. And obviously my priority is on Charlie over like my YouTube work and everything like that. But yeah. How do you deal with everyone making fun of you? I already talked about that. How do you keep pushing to get your name noticed above the rest? I I would say just I really have realized like the power of authenticity and being very genuine with people. People like people who are genuine. People don't like people who script themselves or make themselves sound perfect when they're not. So I feel like sharing my messy life, putting videos of me being upset when Charlie leaves, putting videos about why I transferred schools and how I messed up. Like I literally messed up. I made the wrong decision. I feel like that really has gained it's gained my like respect. People respect me more. Gosh, words are really hard right now. But people really respect me more. I think now that they can see the real side of me, and I at least watching and like taking in content from creators who are the same. One of my favorites right now is Morgan Nichols, I think it is. You should look her up on Instagram. She shares great quotes, but with the quotes, she shares stories about like her life, other people's lives, struggles. And when you're able to show your struggles and able to put them out there and be like, I'm a real person, then you get your name noticed above the rest who are just making their life seem perfect when they're not. And also just acknowledging that like I'm not in LA, I'm not in a big city, I'm creating from my small town, I'm like making a name for myself. I feel like being at least making a name for myself in my town, at least it's because I'm a young girl. I'm doing something that's untraditional for school. And I've been doing something that's untraditional for like this for a long time. So I've been creating and I've gotten to meet a lot of women who are older than me who have been wanting to do this for a long time and they never did because of their physical boundaries, like their restrictions of being in the area that they are. So yeah, that's kind of how I keep pushing. What system do I use to edit? iMovie. How to not care about other people's opinions. Already talked about that. Kyle, I don't know if he's still on here. He said the difference between a potato and a tomato. Okay, this is a really good question. So this says how to stay inspired when you work alone and for yourself all day, every day. So this has been something that's been really hard for me the past few weeks because I did just start my school. I've never really been alone before, but the past few weeks, like the past month, I've been doing my online school and all of that has been put on me. And so to stay inspired, basically, I just keep myself busy. And that sounds like contradictory, like you should be able to relax. But like for me, I thrive off of being busy. And so if I make checklists of things I want to get done and then I feel accomplished when I get those things done. So the same goes for like when I work for myself for my YouTube and my content creation stuff. If I create a checklist, like I want to edit this video, I want to film this video, I want to post this. If I create that checklist, that inspires me so much because I love taking things off of checklists. So I would highly recommend that if you're trying to stay motivated, especially if you work for yourself. Just finding things that you feel excited about. And then also just like knowing that this is what I want to do. And every day that I work on my schoolwork and every day that I work on YouTube stuff, like I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like it gets me so fired up and passionate about it that it just pushes me to keep going. How do you brainstorm video ideas and take the time to execute them at school? So as you know, I am doing online school. I've said that so many times. But as far as like creating videos, brainstorming ideas, usually my videos aren't very like unique. I try to like play off of trends, but then create my own trends or like create my own like spin-offs of trends, I guess. I also like to just vlog a lot, but vlog and make it relevant to what people are saying. Other question? Ooh, that's a good question. I'll answer that in just a minute, Grace. I'm going to answer that after I finish this. But brainstorming video ideas, I kind of just draw off of other people that I like. One girl that I know, her name is Lily Rakow, Rakow. Her channel was about the size of mine like 4 months ago, and now it is doubled in size because she pushes content out like crazy. And especially when I was at school, like I was like, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. But then when I realized like people love college videos, people love college day in my life, people love dorm tours, people love follow me around, things like that. I was like, okay, this is exciting to do. And so that's kind of how I brainstorm my ideas. There's no specific way. I wish I could answer that better, but I basically just draw inspiration from other people who have similar channels. I won't do a trend that doesn't go along with my channel, but I will do things that kind of go along with what I'm trying to do. And then as far as like finding time to execute them when I was at school, I would really plan it into my day. Like I'd be like, this day I'm going to shoot this video. And a lot of my videos while I was at college were just videos that weren't hard to shoot. Like it was a dorm tour, which that video was so bad. The audio was awful. You live and you learn, right? But like just thinking, okay, Sydney, this is only going to take you 20 minutes to film and a little bit to edit. You can edit over time. So if I carved out that time, that's kind of how I did it. And I was like, okay, in between classes, I'm going to do this. Vlogs were really easy for me to make at school because it's just me talking, but you have to make sure that you allow extra time because it's not just following you along with your day, because your normal day, you would not be talking while you were doing it. Grace asked, what fills your tank every day and what do you do to stay creative? Something that fills my tank every day, it's just that like I know the potential that I have. And the fact that in 2016, my goal was 10,000 subscribers and I just now hit it the past year really fuels my tank, because after I hit 10,000, my followers grew a lot. Like I'm almost to 10,700 now. And so seeing how my little community is growing and how people are liking what I'm creating, that's what fuels my tank. But then also I just have this like love for life. And this sounds so cliche, but like I love life and I love sharing that with other people. And I like bringing positive things to people's lives and sharing things that may help someone, because I know that I look up YouTube videos when I'm in a pinch or I don't know what to do about something. Like I see what other people are going through and it makes me feel good. So I would say that that's what fuels my tank the most, is like seeing that people draw inspiration from what I'm doing and that my insight and my ideas could possibly help someone. And then what do I do to stay creative? That's kind of hard for me, I would have to admit. But you, Grace, really push me creatively, because when I see your stuff, I'm like, this is good stuff. And when we are creating together, when we're doing things at the same time or we're creating similar videos, that's what really pushes me. And so I think to stay creative, I just try to open my mind and think of all the possibilities, but then also draw inspiration from people that I love. Gotta answer a few more questions. Putting your hard work into the world just to be judged by everyone. My biggest thing about that is like, you should be proud in the work that you're creating and you shouldn't need someone else's verification or someone else's validation that your work is great, because you should be creating with the mindset that like, this is what I love to do. And so knowing that you are, like I said, that one skincare video flopped. My Mexico video, I would love to be way higher. But you know what? I still watch that Mexico video every single time that I go to my channel and I'm proud of it. And so I think that that's like how I feel, like that makes it worth it. Even if people aren't judging it, even if people aren't looking at it, like I can't help it that people aren't looking at it. It's YouTube algorithm. Like, but I love it. And that's why I do this. I want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm scared of people judging me. I've already kind of talked about this. These are all kind of similar, but like you just have to do it. Go after it. Do it. You have nothing to lose. What is the hardest part of being based in a small town and what is the best? The hardest part is that there aren't very many fun things to do. If you look at my channel, it's a reoccurrent video of me going to Soapco to get coffee because that's the best thing that I can do in this town. But you make it look fun. Life isn't about where you are. Life isn't about what you have in front of you. It's about the people and the connections and the things that you learn along the way. So I've really tried to make my channel more about that, more about, look, instead of just a day in my life in Jacksonville, here's a productive day in my life in Jacksonville. Like this is me being productive. This is not just me living my boring life in my boring little town. Like this is me being productive. And so trying to take things and create like a meaning towards it. So putting meaning towards it is definitely the hardest part of being in a small town, because there aren't very many fun things to do, but you have to find that. But I would say that the best part of being out in a small town is that it's easy to put yourself out there. Definitely it's hard because you're like, okay, everyone knows who I am in this town. So everyone's going to find my videos. And if no one likes it, they're going to judge me. But the best part of that is that word travels fast. And like the people that are meaningful and the people that are wanting to do this with you are going to know who to come to and know who to consult because you have insight for them. Do you always feel inspired in your surroundings or find it hard and have to work at it? That's definitely something that I have to work at. I think it's gotten better over the years because there have been a lot of people who have come out about being entrepreneurs. I definitely think that entrepreneurship is something new. Like it's always been here, but it's like a new word. I guess it's a new trend. And so seeing these people like being like, oh, I'm doing this too. We're struggling too. Like that has been something that has made it better. And I feel more inspired in my surroundings. What are some goals for yourself as a creative in a small town? My goals are just to share with people. Like, I want to share that you can do this too. There's nothing special about my life that's different than your life when you're living in a small area. But also that, like, my goal as a creative in a small town is to make the world a little bit smaller, like connect people, make people feel important, I guess. And I think that's really easy to do in a small town because everyone knows everybody. If I was living in a big city, it's harder to reach people, but I feel like I can reach more of the people in my town because it is a small area. Do you want to move to a bigger city, or do you always want to stay local and in a smaller environment? I definitely don't see myself living. Thank you, Grace. I definitely don't see myself living here in this town forever. I don't think that I could live in a huge city just because it kind of scares me. But like, I definitely want to move to someplace that's like right outside of the city because I love the city, but I don't think I could live there. But I think that would be a big career move for me as well. Biggest fear about pursuing a lifestyle as a creative individual. The biggest fear is that I'll be wasting my time. But then I think sitting here only 20, a lot of people have no idea what they're doing right now. And this isn't hurting me. Like sitting here talking is not hurting me at all. It's literally, you only lose time. That's all. I don't lose money. I don't lose my family. I don't lose the stability of a job because I'm still working outside of this. This is something that I can do on the side, and it could potentially flourish into a career where I'm working at something that I'm passionate about. But even though I am scared that like I won't be able to do this, what's the worst that could happen? I get a real job. Yeah. What is my goal in life after school? So my career goal in life after school is to open my own strategic marketing business with my friends Ethan and Grace. Love you guys. This is me doing a heart. To open my own strategic marketing business and to hopefully like sign on clients and create social media packages for them. And so that way I can do my work from anywhere in the world. And also I just want to touch on that too. Like definitely I'm not saying that I'm going to stay in my small town. I'm just saying that like the way that these are my circumstances. Not everyone is in the place physically or emotionally where they can up and move themselves to a big city to pursue a career as a creative person or as a creator. So it's all about dealing with the cards that you're dealt and like working with where you are. For me, I was 15. I was in high school. I had no other choice than to do it from here. And so I think that that's something that you have to keep in mind too, that I'm not saying that there's something bad about going to pursue your dreams in another place, but I'm saying if you only have right here, it's possible to do things from right where you are in your life. Okay, I'm on the last round of questions. What were some sources of inspiration for your willingness to even be a small town creator? I don't know. I mean, literally the university box really boosted my confidence because I realized that like people are recognizing me from where I am. But my sources of inspiration was definitely my best friend, Grace. And because she was kind of pursuing the same thing, mine just took a little bit of a different direction with my long distance stuff. But I never considered myself any different from any of the other creators because from sitting right here in my bedroom, I could be creating a video in New York City or Los Angeles or Orlando, Florida, and people would have no idea. Like it's all about the confidence that you have and that you put out there. And so that's kind of my sources for inspiration were just other people and people who are creating at the same time and people who are making it work. How did I know I wanted to be a creator in the first place? I didn't. It just kind of happened. Like I just started posting videos. I never really considered it being a job until about like 2017. And then I was like, oh, I can really take this seriously. So there was never really a time where I chose to do this. How do you conquer the fear of people in your real life seeing and not liking your content? At the beginning, I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, Sydney posted a video. Let's go look at it. And even if they were judging me, I was excited that I posted a video. But now I feel like those people don't even check out my stuff anymore. And I don't care about that because I built a great community around people who do like my content. And so being able to distinguish between the people who don't like your stuff and the people who really do, you really see that when you weigh the two options, that the people who do like your content, who support you, are the ones that you should worry about their feedback the most. Do I ever think that I would switch career paths? And if so, what and why? I don't think that I would ever switch career paths. I think that there's a lot of opportunity in the land of social media, and especially in the business world and the corporate world. Obviously, I'm doing this for personal reasons right now, and hopefully this is what my life will turn into and eventually, if this keeps going. But I don't see myself switching. I love this too much. I love creating and being an entrepreneur and paving my own way. I love being independent and being able to work from wherever I am in the world. And it's just really a great option for my lifestyle that I want to live. So yeah, if anyone else has any more questions, please let me know. That's kind of like a rundown of the questions that people ask me. This ended up being like an hour long. It was only supposed to be 30 minutes, but I just kept talking. But basically I'm going to wrap it up right now. Sum up what I said. Thank you, Grace, for loving my content. Basically big summary of what I just said. If you want to do something, do it because you're passionate about it. Do it because that's your dream. You never know until you try. That's literally how life is. If you go out and you want to work in this career field and you absolutely hate it, nothing's permanent. I mean, yeah, what I put out here on the internet is permanent. People are going to see this forever. People can share it, do whatever. But what's the worst that can happen? People don't like it. The way that I look at it is that if people comment something rude, they spent the time to watch my video and that was another view for me. They gave me a view. Thank you. Even though you commented something rude, you took the time to watch my video and your comment is going to boost me up in the algorithms. It's going to benefit me in the long run. But honestly, if you like something and you want to pursue something, just do it. You have nothing to lose, especially in the world of social media and being creative. You don't have to give up your whole entire life to do this. You don't have to move to a big city to do this. You don't have to buy expensive things to do this. You can go after what you want and you're not going to lose anything. You post a video, you see how it does. You don't like it, you take it down. What's the worst that's going to happen? People are so concerned about pleasing people who they don't like. If I was making a video for all the people who are mean to me in high school, then there's no point in making the video. Because I'm creating it for people that I do like, people that support me, people who love what I'm doing, and people that I care about. If you're spending all of your time trying to please people who you don't even care about, who aren't nice to you, people that you don't like, why? If you're buying expensive things, if you're putting yourself out there to be someone not to impress people that you don't like, why? People who care about you and the people who boost you up and the people around that group of people for me. And even though a lot of them are a lot older than me, I know that there will be a demographic that the age will get lower as people begin to realize that this is a possibility. And when I started YouTube, no one else in my town did it. And now there's a kid who literally has 500,000 subscribers because he made Fortnite videos, living in my town, creating videos out of his bedroom. He lives in town. He lives in my small town. He latched onto something that was popular and did it. He didn't care where he was from. He didn't have to have the approval of people who lived here because ultimately the internet is worldwide. I don't have to care what people in my town think about this. Obviously, I'd like if they liked it. I'd like if they support it, which a lot of them do. But the internet is worldwide. Thank you, Jess. Thank you. But yeah, so ultimately it's up to what you want to do and it's up to your passions and you following your dreams. And I hope that all of you can find that, whether it be creating YouTube videos or writing for a blog or creating your own business or something. You never know until you try. And that's so cliche and I can say it over and over again. And some people will never understand that. But if I never tried to make a little GoPro video and had Grace teach me how to use iMovie, I would be nowhere. Like, I would literally hate my life. I feel like this is where God is leading me, and this is where God wants me to be right now. And even though it can seem confusing sometimes when I'm like, okay, this video didn't do well, or I don't have the motivation to do this, I look at all the lives that I've impacted and all the lives that I've touched. And I don't want this to sound bragging, because it's totally not me bragging about myself. But like, I'm just saying, like, what you do matters. What you put out there for people matters. If you have the mindset, like, I don't need people, I don't care what people think about me, but maybe someone needs you. Maybe someone needs your information, needs your content and stuff like that. So I just really encourage you to go after that. I'm going to read this comment. I've been so scared to post my YouTube on my social media because I care what others think, even though I know they don't care about me. Yeah. So something that I've noticed is a lot of people who create YouTube channels in my like small town, you don't know about them until after they have a few videos. And it's because they're scared to share it. But like, in my opinion, the people who are surrounding you should be the people who boost you up the most. But sadly, that's not how it is. But if you can kind of like gain the interest of the people who are surrounding you, they're going to think that's so cool. Like, they're going to be like, wow, she made a YouTube video. And a lot of times I've been caught in the mindset of like, I don't want to be a tryhard. I don't want to be a wannabe. Like, I don't want someone to be like, oh, she's a YouTuber wannabe. Like, I create YouTube videos. I'm a YouTuber. That's just how simple it is. I'm not a wannabe. I'm doing it and they're not doing it. So why should it matter? That's me going off on my little rant there, but that's my biggest advice for anyone who's wanting to get into this field and be creative in this field. If you liked this live stream video, let me know. I can definitely do more. I didn't want to talk so much about like technical things. If you'd be interested in me doing a video just about YouTube or just about getting started on YouTube or a tutorial or like how to grow your Instagram, how to have a feed, like that kind of stuff, I'd be totally up for doing a live stream. I think this is fun because it's like raw and unedited. I've never really done this because I'm like, I want to edit out every time that I say but it's real life, people. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it. Any last minute questions from anyone? Yes, please do those videos. Okay, I will, definitely. Either a YouTube video or I'll do like a live stream, but I kind of like a live stream. It's kind of fun. It's easy once it gets started. Any other questions from anyone? Anyone want to talk to me? I'll end it in a few seconds if no one's going to say anything. Oh, me and Charlie, we're good. We're doing good. I'm actually going to see him in how many days? Let me see how many days. I'm going to see him in 27 days. So we're doing really well. I'm really excited. And that's kind of a benefit of like my schooling right now and pursuing something that I'm passionate about and something that I've always wanted to do, because I've always wanted to do online school, but I've been scared of what people think. They'll be like, oh, school's too hard for Sydney. No, school's not too hard. I get really good grades. But yeah. Oh, yay. I love London. It's so nice. It's really expensive compared to the rest of England, but it's super nice. I like it. Anyone else? Anyone else? Going once, going twice. I will be posting the playback to this video so that way people can watch it if they did not. It's really long. Sorry. But I just had fun kind of talking, and I never get to like talk like this. So this is really cool. Thank you for all the people who have stayed on here. There's 13 of you left. Thank you. I really appreciate that. But yeah, be sure to like this live stream so it gets up there. And yeah, I'd love to create more live streams for you. But thank you guys for making my first live stream so much fun and for asking so many insightful questions for me to answer and to just get me thinking about my life, because this really has taught me a lot about myself in the process of trying to like craft it into a story for you. So yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.